Well, hello, everybody. Welcome to your Monday night chat. We've got MJ,
Hey,
John, and myself. And it feels like forever since I said those words. I don't know why. It felt like it's been forever. I mean, we had a couple weeks where either I wasn't here or we had the virtual expo. So maybe that's what it is. But I don't know. I am very happy. I'm very happy to be joining all of you guys tonight as you're coming in to join us. And we're going to talk about somebody in our group. I'm not going to say who. But anyway, we're going to have some good times tonight and enjoy ourselves because I have missed you guys. I don't know why. I'm not going to get sappy, I promise.
Getting a little, kumbaya around a campfire type thing, I get that.
I'm sorry, was Dan saying something?
Yeah, I know. He wasn't. He was just
Sorry, I was pressing buttons over here.
comparing recipes. That's about it. That's all we're doing. So before we get into tonight's show, I wanted to kind of let everybody know that our graphics department has taken a step forward, and we're going to have some really cool graphics because as the office graphics guy was cleaning his desk, he found a new tablet of Post-it paper. So to flash back to how what kind of great graphics that will allow me to do is things such as this. So I'm pretty excited.
Dan?
I don't think it's that person we're going to talk about tonight. I think it's that one.
I can't tell who's pointing where because Dan, you pointed to my right side of my screen at that point, so I don't know.
I don't know. I think I pointed to the right one that time.
Well, I mean, in the window. I can't see the window. Anyways, John at some point will dazzle us with his retro graphics later.
Yes, because this was not only just a notebook, but this is a Post-it. Oh, yeah, so I can stick to my forehead even.
I had a pen run out of ink today. Does that mean something?
Yes, that
I couldn't
means
even tell you last time that happened.
it means our graphics department needs to get on getting another one.
Oh, it's kind of sad. Like you actually kept it long enough for it to run out of ink. Either it was that cheap of a pen, or you just don't take it out of your office.
I've had this pen for at least 10 years. I love this thing. It was a friend of mine's business pen, for his computer business down in Nashville. Just love the way it feels. So I just keep replacing the ink, and it ran out today.
Oh wow!
I just fiddle with it. It's got that perfect size to just fiddle with.
It's right. Yeah, the barrel's big enough to do something.
My favorite pen. So I'll be putting a new purple. I always write in purple. I've been writing in purple my whole life. And somebody told me that's a school teacher thing, and I'm like, no, it's because I want to be different. It's because I am different. But anyways, new purple ink coming tomorrow. Just not that you care. I'll post it on my story.
Yeah, exactly.
There you go.
We're going to wait until the pen is officially in.
Gosh, we have hit a new low on topics.
Empty
pens.
Well, this is what happens when we've had a couple of weeks off. We just are all over the board. Thanks, Howie, for the update. For those of you who our real graphics guy, Jimmy, that does a lot of our stuff, he's been in the hospital the last few days with having some issues with a few things, but they've been taking care of him, and he's doing much better. So he should be coming home here, I hope, in the next couple of days. So it's been just he's just not being very comfortable and such, and with this warm weather coming up, it's a good thing to get on it before it gets even worse with that. So we're glad to hear that. So I wanted to talk about dealing with kind of some of the people we meet at our shows. Now, this might be sometimes where we're having these people come up with requests that are just out there and doing this weird thing. It could be the times of working with someone at the venue or working with someone from the party, and they're doing this stuff, making demands or suggestions that are just so far out there. And I just wanted to talk a little bit about some of our experiences with those types of things, and how, if you have some of those experiences, what's the best way to handle them without alienating and offending everybody. I just wanted to talk a little bit about some of our experiences with those types of things. And how... There we go. I heard myself saying it twice.
That was me. I was trying to open up
clicking buttons.
Yeah, I was going to say.
I was trying to open up Restream chat, and it just took off. I apologize, John. I interrupted you.
Yeah,
That's what happens. See, that's a perfect example of what happens when a crazy person comes up to you at a gig. It sounds like that to us. So if you're watching this and you talk to DJs, that's what it sounds like to us.
No, that's what anybody talking to us, crazy or not. You have the headphones on. What?
That's why. Okay, for every week that I try to do a shirt theme, the shirt theme this week is, you said, how do we deal with the crazy people at the gigs? That's what I do right there.
Yeah, put the
Headphones on, you scream at them.
Scream at them, just ah. They go away pretty quick.
Maybe.
He hasn't been
I go and
hospitalized.
get someone
recently.
bigger than me, but you know.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, I'm gonna mute me for a second because I want to bring up the other chat because just so I can see everybody's chat across the board.
Gotcha. So yeah, that's where we wanted to head tonight. And over the years, I've done the bar thing, and I had kind of a house DJ there. So we had many experiences there over the years. And then, of course, with weddings, high school dances, and different things, you have a variety of experiences. A couple of the probably the one that stands out as one of the quirky ones is I had way back. So it had probably been in year 4 or 5 of us doing this. Is that I had someone who had some songs that they had to hear because they wanted to go out, and they were honest to goodness serious that they were some songs that they needed to do because they were going to be calling the Satan's blessing on the wedding. And there were a couple of songs that they wanted played in back to back because the seance or whatever the thing was is that he needed to do. It took that long with those 2 songs and those 2 particular. And they were, I think one was a Rolling Stones song, and I don't remember what the other one was, but I remember him mentioning Rolling Stones and early Rolling Stones back when they were trying to be the real, bad guy rockers type of thing. How did I deal with him? Literally asked the bride if she would have him removed because he was freaking me out. It's like, do you know him? Oh yeah, he's like this friend of my cousin's or something that came with him. And it's like, okay, this is what he's recommending. Is this something that oh heavens no. Okay, can you have him removed? Because he's like every 10 minutes he's up in my face about this, and he's really wanting to do this calling of Satan's blessing on your wedding.
When you start telling that story, I was thinking, did you not meet with the bride ahead of time?
Oh yeah, I did, and
but, no, I didn't realize that person wasn't part of that.
Yeah, it was a.
You always handle stuff really well. So whatever advice you have, I'm listening from now on.
Yeah, it was just the weirdest, quirkiest thing, and you don't. Huh? Did you not hear the part where they got married in the church this afternoon? Did you not see the pastor who was there doing the blessing of the meal, and grandma got up and did a something, whatever it was, but it was a church event, and yet I was going to ask for Satan's blessing.
Wow.
So that would probably be on the more extreme side of the.
That's on the top of the list, Dan.
Yeah.
I'm going to let you try to top that.
I can't top that. I can't come anywhere close to that. I will say one of the directions that I've always had a difficulty with has been unrealistic caterers. Just that's been kind of I haven't had any guests that have been really off the wall. I've had some that have been drunk, and that's a different story. That's a different type of crazy. But
I was going to actually ask that question here in a bit because that's the crazy I get every single night, every single person. So
absolutely.
We'll talk about that later.
Yeah,
we'll get to that one.
But it's been some unrealistic caterers. So this past weekend, I was working with and it's kind of timely that we have this, but I was working with a caterer. I've worked with this caterer a bunch of different times, and it's always been fairly decent, decent food. Nothing, it's not like a 5-star restaurant type of food. It's good backyard barbecue style food, and the food's always good. They brought 4 people. The wedding had 150 guests. They brought 4 people. 1 bartender and 3 people to serve the food. Other than the bartender, if any of them were over 18, I would have been shocked. One of them looked to be about 13. And just didn't know how to handle anything for the guests, didn't know how to do anything. I said, and I was actually, the bartender was like the captain of the night. And I said, okay. I said, so, what's the plan for dismissing tables? I don't know. Okay, so you got somebody that can take care of that? Well, we've got 6 pans over there, and we've got 3 people. Okay, so you need someone to dismiss. Well, they can just all go up whenever they feel like it. You need someone to dismiss.
Never been to a wedding before?
From what I understand afterwards, talking with the venue owner, probably not. Wow. Probably not. This bartender was breaking all sorts of rules right and left. But it was just one of those things where, that's the kind of thing that I get. I'm okay with dismissing tables if I have to, but there was no plan for anything. It wasn't like, hey, yeah, we were hoping you would do this for us. It was, I don't know. Yeah, first wedding for I think the entire crew that was there. The main person who runs the catering business was not a part of it. So, like I said, I can't go to the satanic blessing, but definitely have those issues where they're just, it's like their first rodeo at a wedding. And when it was the entire team, it was just like, what happened? Like, yeah. That would be
somebody one time come up and said, will you play the theme to the Philadelphia 76ers? I mean, I know that compares to Satan right there because it's the Philadelphia 76ers.
It's Philadelphia team anything.
Yeah, and I'm like, what? And he's like, yeah, play the theme, man. Everybody go crazy. I'm like, do you know what city you're in?
That's true, yeah.
He's like, so you don't have it? I'm like, nobody has it.
I do it right here on my phone.
Can you plug it? Can I plug this in, man?
My crazies are all drunk crazy, so I have stories for days about that, but I don't have the regular, ordinary, everyday. I do have one crazy. There was a place, a friend of mine said, can you fill in for me? And the place is a restaurant, okay, but they have a center area for dancing. It's, cleared out, lights, the whole 9 yards. It's called the Fish Bowl because it's a fish restaurant. So the dance area is called the Fish Bowl. And one of the ladies did not like where I put the speaker, and she goes up and starts dragging my speaker across the floor. I'm like, no, you can't do that. I only have so much. Well, why would you do that? And she starts flipping out on me. And I'm like, I text my friend Ed. I said, like, this lady, he goes, is it the one with the such and such hair? I'm like, yeah. He goes, okay, yeah. Just, you're fine.
But my speaker, the cord.
I'm like, what the frick are you doing, lady? But that's the closest I get to crazy. I mean, like I said, all my crazies are drunk crazies. So, man, I especially when it comes to Satan, I don't have any stories like that. A few girls who I thought were possessed at times, but that again turned out to be alcohol.
That's because they're hitting on you.
It's a fine line between possessed.
Hitting on me. That's funny, Dan.
Possession.
Girls will hit me before they hit on me.
That's why they were crazy and drunk.
Oh, you guys. John, do you have a second? I mean, that's like...
You should have saved that one.
Yeah, what's your follow-up? So like somebody didn't say thank you at the
Yeah, exactly.
It is Minnesota after all.
Yeah,
Right.
exactly. There was that one time where they didn't say amen after the blessing, and it was complete chaos.
Everybody
Nobody
sat
knew
there.
what to
Nobody
do.
moved.
Everyone just like, are they going to finish? Are they going to finish? 25 minutes? So there was one wedding, and I've made reference to this in the past. So it was at one of the venues that we did a lot of weddings at, and it's 10 minutes before the meal is supposed to be served, and I go back to the kitchen to follow up, and the head chef comes out, and he goes, it's like, 10 minutes, are we good? He goes, no. He goes, we have huge problems. I just pulled the chicken, and the chicken was all spoiled, and it's basically all the chicken is rotten. And it's like, okay, so what does that mean? He goes, well, I have more chicken in the back. Okay, and I need you to go fill some time and do kill some time. I need about another half hour because I'm going to make a whole new batch of chicken. And my question to him is like, well, if your first batch of chicken from that group, that order of chicken was bad, why would you go and make the second batch of chicken? Aren't you? Because I don't care if that second batch of chicken is bad. I know the first one is bad, and if I do that and get rid of it, that takes care of the liability, and I don't care if the people get sick from the second batch of chicken. It's like, okay, what do I go tell them? Because if I tell them that the chicken's bad, you're not going to have anybody eating any chicken all night long. No, you just go tell them that the kitchen's running behind. So as I'm out there and I make some announcements, he has someone literally by the door standing watching to make sure that I didn't say anything about the chicken being bad or anything, that way, because if I would have done something like that, that would have been my last time of working at that venue, which I did a lot of events at that venue before, during, and after, in essence. But it just, the crazy cook that you think is out there watching out for people and trying to, be cautious or cognizant of the safety of the people eating the food. It's like, yeah, I did my due diligence by getting a first batch out of here. After that, if people get sick, it's not my problem.
I would say, unfortunately, I think that mentality is out there just a little too prevalent. Like I've seen that. I haven't firsthand experienced it. I think I've been lucky, or if I have, I've just been ignorant to it. And I'm not talking necessarily food negligence, but just in general, the idea of, I know something's bad, so I'm going to take care of it just enough so that I don't get my rear end handed to me.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not going to do what's right, but I'm going to keep from doing what they can prove was wrong. And you, I mean, you don't have to scroll very far in Facebook groups to see, DJs who are doing something similar of, just how they handle the night. And well, I knew it wasn't really the thing to do, but I made sure I was okay. Made sure you were okay. Like whose event is this? Mm-hmm. Like, who needs to be okay here? You or everybody else? And just kind of that.
DJs are king of the world.
Well, the way some of them act, we've got a whole
bunch
of... Some of them are.
Don't get me started on DJs. No. See, you guys have these legitimate crazy stories, like people that you can't, not that you know of that they're drunk, or not that you know of they're all hopped up on whippets or something. You don't know, but they don't seem to be. That's legitimate. Like, I get the other side, where at least that's why I joke around about the fact that I don't drink. I said, yeah, I have no excuse for the way I act. Other people can say, yeah, I was drunk. This is all me. I have nothing to blame it on. But you guys, do you run into? It sounds like you're running into a person with this off the wall, whatever you want to call it, often in different ways.
Well, I think what you run into, I think maybe what's a little bit different, maybe between the circles that we would end up running into versus your bars and that kind of thing. When somebody's having a wedding, and we'll just use the wedding as a scenario, even though it's their special day, there's oftentimes a lot of family members that get invited because I have to invite the family members. Like I have to invite everybody on this tier, right? I can't leave crazy Uncle Eddie out because, otherwise it's going to be very obvious that even though we all know he's crazy Uncle Eddie, that, we've got to invite him. And so a lot of times that gets invited, where I think sometimes in your bar settings, crazy Uncle Eddie knows that he's not going to go to that bar because they kicked him out the last time that he went there. And so.
Well, we do get the kickouts. You're banned for 3 weeks. I've watched the manager at one place literally walk up to the person before they were taking him out, say, turn him around, take a picture of him so that she has record of him so he doesn't get stuff like that. But that's a Tuesday night for me.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Uncle, what's his name? Would you call him again?
I call him Crazy Uncle Eddie.
Crazy Uncle Eddie. A lot of places, Crazy Uncle Eddie is the calm guy at the bar. He's the guy that he knows there's a bouncer that will bounce him out. Mm-hmm. But at a wedding, it's like, oh, they gave me free alcohol.
Yeah, free alcohol, and nobody with the uniforms around here. Woohoo!
Yeah.
So obviously, as I've always believed, a calm mind prevails, and I'm guessing by John's example, that's a good way to go. What do you guys think?
You're not gonna outwit crazy with crazy.
Yeah.
So really, that's the thing. You can't reason with crazy.
I don't know. I've out crazied a few people. I don't know.
Well, I didn't say out crazy, but maybe I did.
I know what
but you're not going to beat crazy with crazy, and you're not going to reason with crazy.
Definitely.
So the best thing that you can do is try to delay it. Try and delay what's coming up. And John alluded with his first story that obviously he pushed him off because this guy was coming up every 10 minutes or so. And so you try and push them off with the idea that one of two things is going to happen. They're, unless they're really dead set on something, they're going to get bored with the idea and just give up, or recognize that you're not going to do it and just give up. Or they're going to have enough alcohol that they're going to forget.
And so patience is a good key.
Can be, yes.
Absolutely. Now, the downside is if you're working with videographers, photographers, other people that are running into that same type of problem.
Professionals.
Yeah, professionals that are supposedly there. What you end up recognizing is that, I shouldn't say they're not having alcohol. They might be, but your interaction with them is not going to happen at a time where you're going to be able to push them off and hope that they just get too drunk.
Right. Whippets, they tail off pretty quick from what I hear. So just have patience, and calmness. What if a person doesn't have that as a strength? Not that I know anybody that doesn't have it as a strength. I'm just asking for a friend.
Well, I think it comes up to think of how the average. Well, I shouldn't say the average. One of the skills that I often use for pushing off people and kind of delaying them is something that I learned when I was in radio, which was the idea of when somebody calls the radio station and you want to try and get them talking so that you can use something. And 9 times out of 10, they were just calling to request a song. So you would acknowledge the fact that they were asking for something. You would say, I'm going to try and do that for you, having full knowledge that you were never going to do it. So basically you almost lie to them. You tell them, I'll do my best to get that on for you. I'll see what I can do. And again, just try and use that white lie, if you will, to buy you some time within that. You don't have to be real patient. And to be honest with you, it works really well at diffusing a lot of things, because if you just say no, if you just flat out say no to it, they're going to ramp up almost immediately.
Yep.
Like, why can't you?
Ooh.
What do you mean you can't? I'm going to go talk to Susie. She's my niece that I haven't seen in 10 years, and she's going to do what I want. So having that no almost immediately is something I try to avoid at all costs. And I always tell my couples, I'm like, listen, I said, when you put something on a do not play, what if it's asked for? Okay, or I don't want to no matter what. Okay, great. So I always try and just diffuse it of, I'll see what I can do. Knowing full well, nope, not going to do it.
Because DJs use that putting it off. There's times where you've got someone who comes up and asks for a song and he's, yep, I'll get to it. And they're like, so are you doing a DJ blow off? It's like, oh, is it that obvious? Yes, I am. Or most of the time, actually, when they do ask that question, and I've had that asked. Goodness, I think I had it asked at the last event. It's like, no, it's actually a really good song, and I do want to do that. That will get played, but it's not going to get played right now because I'm into this country set. And I've got this dance song that won't fit into it, so we'll get it.
I like to use the side list for virtual for the requests that I can like play with and kind of do. And so if they'll come back up, I'm like, no, it's in here. I just got to find a great place for it to fit.
See, and I prefer myself to go and use a high-tech methodology of taking it, where I use this little device that has this retractable, this implement that will leave marks on this flat thing.
Unless you run out of ink.
And oh gosh, there's a hole in my.
I can scratch all day, but that's about all I can do.
I can feel the grooves. What word is this? Mud. No. Yeah, no.
Huh. So my honest method probably wouldn't. Again, this is why I don't do weddings
Honesty
and
never.
stuff, because
Truthfully, they say honesty is the best policy, and that's only like sometimes. Not when you're dealing with the DJ, and especially with people with alcohol. You never want to lie to a person, but you're never going to tell them the honest or the brutal truth of. One of my stories was a wedding where the bride and groom were into 80s and dance music. Basically, they loved 80s and anything that had a beat to it. That's what they wanted. They hated country. Well, one of their cousins was a 6'5" guy who looked like he came right out of Nashville. Big cowboy hat, boots, Western shirt, and he must have weighed 300 pounds. I would guess he played tight end for like some Nashville football team. He's huge. And he was insisting
the Titans, and I'm not even a fan of
he was
football, and I know that's
the
Titans.
The crowd would love to hear some country, and he was there, and he was all night long glaring at me from everywhere in the room. It was like all just eyes on me the whole time. And in that particular case, I was honest with him and told him that the bride and groom aren't fans of country music, and they've requested that there won't be to not have any country music tonight. So I'm sorry. And that didn't appease him whatsoever. He was like, you better be playing it. Gotta be playing some country music. You want to get this crowd going. It's like, yeah, that dance floor with 45, 50 people on it that has no room for you. So that's why you're over there glaring at me. Yeah.
So,
but
I've run into that situation before. And let's just hypothetically say that I look at a person, and just hypothetically, not that this ever happens, and say, no, I'm not playing it because country music sucks. How's that taken? I mean, not that I've ever done that.
Right, and that's not going to go over well.
Because hypothetically, it makes them walk away pretty quick. When I hypothetically would say that.
Yeah, but their first response is, well, no, you suck, and then they flip your table
and
over.
I go, yeah, I do.
And then the next thing you know, that the ring announcer's announcing the next cage match. So
you got the bouncers to help you.
Yeah, and you got the bouncers. So
I think there's also a difference. I mean, you're right as far as the honesty idea, and you're trying to delay, and unfortunately, when you have those types of situations, at some point, I feel like you have to have that conversation. If you have somebody that's glaring you down the whole night, that's repeatedly coming up and talking to you, at some point you do have to try and diffuse them maybe a different way. And one of the things that I try and do, like, so if when I have a couple that says, listen, we don't want any, then we'll just use country. We don't want any country tonight. If somebody comes up and requests a country song, I'm sorry. I said, in this hard drive that I've got here, I don't have any of my country stuff.
I say
I don't have any country stuff with me tonight. Right, you are. and so at that point, when I've tried to reason with somebody and try to use, the diffuse method, and it's not working, and it's something that clearly goes against something that they want, now I have no problem lying to them. No problem at all. Sorry, I do not have any country with me tonight. It's a hard drive, for crying out loud. I've had some people
YouTube it, because I get that every once in a while.
Well, I do, and that's the thing. Even a couple weeks ago, I had this guy who came up. I don't even remember what it was. It was some parody spoof that Will Ferrell did and put out, and he wanted to hear it.
Oh, I know which one it is. Yeah,
I had no clue.
Anyway,
but it was kind of weird too. It was like this middle-aged guy that was asking for it, and I went, no. He asked for it at one point. I'm like, I don't have that. There was no. And then a little bit later, we're at the end of the night. I think I actually had stopped playing music at that point, and he came up and he goes, do you have a way to plug my phone in so I can play that song? I love when the fact it's actually plugged in my iPad, and I go, nope. The iPad's right there with the audio jack plugged in. Nope.
I'm guessing that most of the people watching tonight are more in your shoes than mine when it comes to crowds.
Probably.
Certain places, I do have to be a little bit more diplomatic.
Diplomatic, yeah.
When I do the casinos, you really have to be diplomatic there. I can say no, but I have to say it nicely, or I can say, well, I'm not sure, but I'll give it a try. Or maybe if the dance floor dies down, or sometimes people ask for stuff like the one casino, I'm like, they just don't want stuff like that played. That's part of the rules of what they want. And I'll be honest, but I don't get a lot of that aside from the drunk people, and those are the ones that I will intentionally mess with back. I'll go, I just played it. You were literally standing here. I thought you were dancing to it. And they're like, no, play it again. I can't play it again. I just played it. Or they'll say something. I'm like, I don't have that. And they're like, oh, it's Beyonce. I'm like, Beyonce who? Just to screw with them. Or I've done it before where somebody got mad at me, and as they're walking out the door, I'll drop the song so they hear the song as they're going out the door. There's another lady that came in one time, wanted me to play this song, and this wasn't even this was at a bar, like a kind of a college hangout bar. No dance floor, no lights, no nothing. and it was this banging, booty shaking thing she wanted to hear. And I'm like, nobody else here's wanting to hear that. I said, that's a really new track, number one. Number two, it's really out there. Oh man, if you just play it, everybody will just jump up. And I'm like, I guarantee you they won't. And she just kept bugging me. I said, listen, I said, I'll make you a deal. I said, if I play it and people get up, I will play whatever you want for the rest of the night. I said, but if nobody gets up, don't ask me for anything again. Is that fair? She's like, absolutely. Dropped the song instantly. She and her friends start, and they just slowly went, nobody moved an inch. And she's just looking around going like this, and they're talking to each other, and then they just turned around and walked out. So it's a different set of rules for what I do. I definitely think what you guys do is another reason why I don't like doing weddings is because I always call, when you do weddings, you have to be everybody's, I call it the 5-hour best friend. Everybody who's there, you've got to treat them, hey, how are you? What's up? Oh man, I don't know if I can get that on. And you're trying to talk with them positively and energetically and engaging. And that's a great tool if you have it. But I'm gonna play the other side tonight of people who might be watching and don't have that. What advice can you guys give someone who does not have that calm, I can talk you into calming, I can talk you into changing your mind, I can be patient, I can be whatever. Where does someone like me begin with that, or someone watching that just can't deal with that? How do we begin doing that?
I wonder if it's not a situation, though, MJ, and similar to what you do, as far as you understand your limitations. And I think that there's that famous quote that a man's got to know his limitations. I think that's a big part of it, is that you know that it's something that is not natural for you, and that doing it would, you might be able to put the smiley face on for a period of time, but eventually it's going to bite you in the butt. And a bite in the butt at a wedding could be way more detrimental than offending someone at a bar, that's going to leave, and then 10 people will take their place. So I think I don't think this is one of those you can fake it till you make it. You might be able to pick up some tips and to be able to do it, but it's kind of that idea of serving people. If you're not going into something with a servant attitude, or to serve people, or to help people have a good time, you can't just fake some of those things. It just isn't something, and no amount of training is going to get you there. So it can maybe give a tip to handle that one time when you're in your area, and something from outside your area comes in, and that crazy person there, but to say, here's 5 tips on how to handle a catering manager, and it might be one of those things that's just, you get there and it's like way beyond. I mean, I can't deal with this person who's now demanding changing my schedule up 3 minutes before I'm supposed to introduce the wedding party, and they're telling me now that this is going to go a different way.
I can ask, did you eat the chicken that night, John?
No, I very seldom eat at weddings.
I just wanted to check on that.
Yeah.
One of my things I do when I don't have a song, because somebody was in there, it reminded me of it. John Colley was talking about it. I don't have that one, but I have something that's similar to it. One of my go-tos is always, what's your second choice? And I can almost always make them happy on the second choice. I don't have that one, but what's your second choice?
I like that, and you mentioned that in the past also. And
and
such
I actually did that the other night. They wanted to hear Machine Gun Kelly. And I'm like, well, I don't have that one. And she goes, any Machine Gun Kelly. And I'm like, you got it. So that's all it took. So, but I don't necessarily deal with staff and other professionals like you guys do. How do you, like you said, if you either you have it or you don't. Dan, I know you want to say something. Where do you come at it with this?
So I think there's 2 directions that you can go, and then there's a idea I want to throw out that you don't do. And something that I've seen. So if I forget any of that, please let me know. But I think within the idea of what we talked about, where I would begin I would think ahead to, if I know that I have an issue with this now, but I know that I'm going to try and get into weddings, all right? And we keep using weddings because of the different format.
Different atmosphere, yeah.
Exactly, different circles. So down the road that you want to make that transition for yourself. I would start working on trying some of those skills that we've even potentially mentioned, not even skills, but some of the things that we've said, and see if you can kind of, for lack of better terms, train yourself in those types of responses in a setting that you don't have to make them. So for example, you've talked about in the bar situation that you can say a lot of things that you would never try and say at a wedding. So work on those ideas for the wedding now, so that at some point when you're like, you know what, screw this, it's not working. Now I'm going to say what I've always said. You've tried it. And so maybe you got your putting them off happened 2 times at the bar when you tried it. And now a month from now, when you've done it, you're up to 4 times. You know, you learn the ability to kind of train yourself in that way, kind of what you would do to train yourself in pretty much any skill. But as John has said, at some point you're going to have a limitation. And at some point your own personality, you can only squash it so much before it really becomes detrimental to what makes you you. And that's the best thing that you can do for any client, is to really make them understand who you are and that you're not faking it. So train yourself maybe to work with those people that are difficult, but make sure it doesn't overcome the personality that sets you up for who you are. So the second thing would be within that, you have that limitation, recognize that it would be a good idea to find an assistant that's going to be some form of a fashion to help you. If your skill is DJing, then that assistant is an MC, and that assistant can be the face when somebody comes up and is the one that's able to kill them with kindness and be that person that has that people personality to really calm anybody.
Yeah, good idea.
Even if you don't have that person as an MC, like let's say you're handling everybody, they could be your roadie and still be the person that kind of runs that go-between.
Be the buffer.
Yeah, be the buffer for you, that allows you to still have all the things that you need to have, but doesn't create that awkward moment. And in the same respect, what's really great is if you have somebody that's good at that and that can be your roadie, they can't take responsibility for any request. They can't take the responsibility for any moment, because you're the ones that's running the show. So you just have to say, got it. I'm going to write it down. I'm going to give it to him and go from there and allow him to do when he can. All right. But I can't make any promises because I don't run the show.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I need to talk to him. No, he does his thing. This is how I'm the go-between. Now, go ahead.
Don't do. Yeah, you're going to say, what don't you do?
So the don't do is too often times what I've seen on Facebook, the recommendation of DJs is you've got someone that's being a problem and they're asking for the song, get on the microphone. Bobby wants this one heard next, so we're going to play this for Bobby. Like, I get what you're doing. Like, I get you're trying to take all the responsibility off of yourself for what just flopped. But I really don't think that is the best way to go about it. Like, I've even had some where the recommendation is, the bride and groom are asking for a certain cocktail or a certain dinner music, and it goes against everything that you've wanted, and you just can't convince them otherwise. So, they go out and they say, tonight's cocktail hour, it was handpicked by Bobby and Susie tonight. And I understand you're trying to take the responsibility out of your hands. You're trying to take the blame out of your hands because you feel tied. But I also feel like that's putting an awkward situation, in a difficult light. I feel like there needs to be a better way to go about it. And maybe John, you would disagree with me, because I actually feel like you may have made that suggestion once or twice.
I have used that on a couple of occasions, especially when it's been something that the couple has picked and they said that this is our list. We want you to stick to the list, and making that announcement early that, tonight, ladies and gentlemen, Bobby and Susie have gone through and picked out some of their favorite songs, and they've got that list together, and we're going to be playing through that list tonight. So sit back and enjoy.
Yeah.
Wow. You should be doing this for a living, John.
But I think the difference is in there, first off, you have to sell it. Like, you have to sell it, because
it sounded very heartfelt when he said
exactly.
That. He was like, I'm getting touched. They had put together such a beautiful list. Wait for it.
It's gonna just for you.
But I will say, as much as I say don't do this, if I had the 6'5" linebacker staring me down, now granted the bride and groom said No Country, but let's say he just picked a song that was just like horrible and you didn't want to play it because you had a feeling it was going to kill a floor. If I can't keep the daggers from potentially causing me physically harm at the end of the night, I might be tempted to throw that out, come to think of it.
Mm-hmm.
One night I was DJing at a very high-end champagne bar, and a rap star came in, which we got a lot of famous people come in. That a lot of football players, actors galore, everything, and a big name rap artist come in and wanted me to play a song. I said the owner doesn't want that. The owner wants house music. You're not gonna play my song. No, I'm not going to play the song. You know who I am. Oh, yeah, definitely. I know who you are, but I can't play that. The owner does not want that here. He goes back and sits down. His bouncer comes up. Now, I'm in a booth that's lifted off the ground. His bouncer's eye to eye with me, way off the ground. Same thing. I'm like, no, owner doesn't want that. So you know who that is? I'm like, absolutely. I knew who it was when he asked me who it was. I said, we don't play that here. Well, can't you just do it? I'm like, no. We're not going to do that. Well, where's the owner? Right there. They go over and talk to the owner, and it's like, nope, we don't play that here. Wow. A couple minutes later, they leave. So I have no problem pushing someone to the bouncer, to the owner. That's one of the reasons why I like that, because you gave me rules. I'm going to do my best to follow them. I'm going to do my best to this. I'm not as rude as I play it off. I just do have fun sometimes with people messing with people because it's just so much fun, especially in a loud environment like that. You can't hear. You'll just go, okay. I have no idea what they just said. Some DJs hate the phone in their face. I like that because that means I don't have to talk to them. I don't have to listen to them. I can go, oh, gotcha. But it's a different world from what you guys deal with, that's for sure. And I definitely think, like you said, John, just like it takes the right personality to be a good bouncer, it takes the right personality to be, in that sort of environment where you're going into people's very, very, very special day, whether it's a birthday, a retirement, a wedding, or whatever. I don't know how you really could, I thought about this when you guys were talking about this. I don't know any other ways. I mean, like, have you ever at the expos or any place like that have someone give a seminar on how to respond or anything like that?
I think it's been touched on in parts of as a side, that there's something, and this is how I would handle it. I don't know if there's been a seminar specifically on just that topic of how to handle.
Right.
So.
Interesting. Isn't that a good one?
It's one of those things where, you kind of hit on it also, that you almost have to really play the nice guy card because it is someone's special day. Like, you don't want to create a scene for what's happening. Like, it's just, there's so many potential problems there by causing that scene that you need to work in everything that you can so that it doesn't
right. Yeah, with me, it's at least, someone says, oh, they were getting rowdy. I'm like, yeah, they were drunk.
Yeah, for sure. And that,
you can't pass that off as easily at a birthday party, even though people probably are. It's really easy to pass that off where I'm at. But I do really try to be polite because I try to be polite, but I have to be honest that there are times that I've looked at the person and they're screaming at me, yelling, complaining about something, and I'm like, do you see the dance floor? I've literally said, look at me, you are the only person here not having fun. And they're like, all right. To me that's a little aggressive, but it's honest. But I don't know, you guys are awesome. That's all I gotta say. John, tell him what didn't happen. I don't mean to jump subjects. I know we're close to the end here.
Yeah.
But what didn't happen a few weeks ago when Dan wasn't here?
What didn't happen?
We can just wait till another time.
I wasn't here, and so something didn't happen?
Yeah. Well, see, there's this thing that on our Monday night shows where there's this certain software that continually gets brought up. I mean, it's week after week after week. Or a musician from the 80s that's brought up consistently, like there's some weird fetish thing going on. And it was interesting, the week that MJ and I did our show, you didn't have any of that when he and I were.
Wow.
Yeah, it was completely.
You don't know. Could have been an anomaly. Could have been.
Yeah, it could have been just weird thing. Just going to say it. Nothing.
I will actually say it didn't happen the week before when it was John and I in doing the virtual expo.
So it's you and I, Dan?
Apparently, it's when you
the
and I get
combination
together that
of-
John just likes to push our buttons.
Oh man,
What? Wait, me? What? Huh?
that just changes things.
Me? What? Huh?
That just changes things.
he's like,
Oh, that changes things because Dan, what?
It's my latest purchase.
see, you can't blame us when he's the one that shows it.
It's like almost the greatest hits.
You know, are you taking a drink, Dan, or not?
He showed it. He didn't say it.
I
so
didn't say it. It's just
we didn't write down the rules. I forget.
Somebody say it, please. Say the first one. Say the other thing, because I had this set up all show, and we're almost at the end of the show, and I can't do it. Your guys killed my entire 3-week setup.
Yeah, that's true. He did mention that he was. But yeah, it was pretty impressive that we made it through the whole night that night. Great discussion. And not once did Dan bring up Megaseg. Not once.
There's a glare. There's a glare.
There's a glare.
There we go.
That's what the Megaseg mug.
What was the other thing, John?
My Huey Lewis over here.
Just for this show, thank you.
Just for the show. That's awesome.
And as you can see, it's in black and white because my printer just ran out of colored ink.
No, it looks.
It's all right.
It looks good.
I kept knocking them over, so I said, "Man, I'm gonna have to get something with a straw instead of taking it off all the time." And I saw this at the store, and I'm like, "Oh, I have to get." I mean, we're talking like 3 weeks ago. I'm like, "Oh, I'll get that for the show," and I'm like, I should do a Megaseg mug. And then I'm like, "Well, what do we do if he says the other thing?"
That's good. That's good.
It's warm now because this studio is so warm today.
It's
so warm. I have to put ice in it next time.
So coming up after we're done here at the top of the hour, 10 o'clock Eastern, Howie and the crew are going to be talking about song title mishaps. When they come up and they make a request, and they are talking using lyrics from the songs, using what they think are lyrics from the song. That's the title. And then
the Apple Bottom song.
Yeah, the Apple. Yep. I want the shoes, the Velcro shoe song. You know, they're so many of them. So the guys are gonna in the chill room, DJNTV.com/chill. They'll be in there tonight, so you can jump in there and share your stories, or you can just leave your camera off and your microphone off and just kind of watch as they record the show that will go up later this week. If you don't get to watch it or see it live tonight, it'll be up probably, I think, on Thursday nights is where Thursday or Friday we've been hitting them. So that'll be coming up. Tomorrow night, I've got a baseball game. So the Tuesday Night with Ben Stowe may or may not fly. We're not sure yet how long it's going to take for the baseball game. When this is our first one, so we'll be finding that out tomorrow night. So that if that doesn't go, then Jay and Brian will be in the chill room at 10 o'clock Eastern tomorrow night, DJNTV.com/chill. MJ, Wednesday night, are you up?
I have a great show coming for the next 3 weeks.
Excellent.
Wednesday night, join us because Jay from Pioneer is going to join, and he's going to be there to answer all of your record box questions. He's doing a show just on record box, so he's going to answer all your record box questions. I'm back the following week doing my monthly virtual DJ question show. And the 23rd, I'm going to come back and do a mixing show. I've not done a mixing technique show. Answer questions about mixing. So we have the next 3 weeks, but you definitely want to join in Wednesday night, 9 p.m., and check out Jay from Pioneer. He's going to answer any questions you've ever had about Rekordbox, and you're going to find out some really cool stuff because that software is growing in leaps and bounds.
It has. It really has. So excellent. Sounds like fun. And I think that's about it.
This is a good topic. It was tough for me because I had nothing honestly to add because you guys, it's a different world and you guys have a skill. I mean, for anybody who's watching and are thinking about really diving deep into the scene that, the weddings and the parties and stuff, think about this as a skill that you might need to have. Just because you have a computer with a lot of songs and speakers and lights may not be your best bet, Because like Dan said, once you stop being yourself, I always say, people fake being themselves a lot, but you can only fake being yourself for so long, and then the true you comes out. So how do you want to handle that? So
for sure. Dan, take us home.
All right. Well, on that note, thank you very much for tuning in tonight. And if you are the crazy person that we talked about, it wasn't us. It wasn't us. It was that other show that happened at some point. But thank you very much for taking your time out of your Monday night. We'll see you next time. Bye.
Bye.